Hey there, Mary Sheila here, BioYouth Labs, and Happy New Year. I just wanted to wish you a Happy New Year and talk a little bit about our health goals for that year. In particular, I'm going to share with you 5 ways to eat less sugar. Before we start with my tips, I want to just say that it is nice to have something that creates a fresh start. To say, oh, what can I do differently, right? We can do that with the seasons. We could do that maybe if we start a new job, end a new job, start a new school year, right? We have different reasons why we can stop and start things. But there's nothing like the new year to really look at and make some changes. And I'm not really talking about resolutions. I'm more just talking about, hey, the elephant in the room is that we could all eat less sugar. That is one of the things that messes most people up. Now, some of you might say, well, I don't really eat sugar. I don't like sweet things. But sugar is basically glucose, and glucose is the storage form of starch. So if you find yourself having lots of refined carbohydrates like pretzels, might not think of pretzels as sugar, but they turn into sugar, or pastas or breads, cookies, crackers, even if they're salty, chips, whatever. So all of those things are sugar. So I'm going to just talk about some practical tips, and I'm going to continue the conversation in some future videos around swaps that we can make. Because I think it's really important to think, well, it's not about not having anything. It's just about making a little swap and finding other things that you can have. So the first tip that I have, well, let me say this. And this is something we're all working on. I have been in the nutrition field for about 15 years now, and it's still a nice fresh start for me. I still had to be around holiday cookies and treats and all kinds of things and big meals, and I had to figure out a way to navigate that, and I wasn't perfect. So now it's a time to make a fresh start. So the first tip is just to get it out of your house. Simple enough. Wherever your little stash of sugar is, whether it's in the cupboard, the fridge, the freezer, maybe it's in your purse or in your car. If it's not there, it's so much harder to eat sugar. But if it's there, sometimes you can't stop thinking about it. And yeah, it might be a little hard and challenging in between not having it and going a little longer without having it before that craving settles down. But it's just too hard to have it. For me, if there were chips in my house, I would be eating them. And chips are also sugar too. The next tip I have for eating less sugar is to have a good breakfast. Make sure that your breakfast has protein, fat, and fiber. Don't eat sugar for breakfast, so no pastries and pancakes and muffins and sweet coffee drinks. Go for no sugar at breakfast. It will set you up for success during the day. It makes it easier to not have sugar cravings later in the day because of the effect that it has on our metabolism. So have a good breakfast, and that will help you have less cravings for sugar, which is really what we want. The next tip I have for you for eating less sugar is to write out your menu for the day, including writing that you're not going to eat sugar. When you have a plan, you are going to be so much more successful. Think about what's in your fridge or where you're going for the day and make a plan. This is my breakfast. This is my lunch. This is my dinner. Here's some snacks I have in case I get hungry. And today I'm not going to eat sugar. Then you have this plan to come back to every time you're hungry and you say, oh yeah, what am I going to eat for breakfast? What about dinner? You have a plan, and you've said to yourself, and you've written it down, and you've held yourself accountable that you're not going to eat sugar. Even if you do eat the sugar, you're going to think twice when you do, and that's one step closer to not eating sugar, right? At least you're conscious and thinking about it, and if you're not super successful, you can try again tomorrow, right? The next tip I have for eating less sugar is make sure you have protein with every meal. Protein is the building blocks of our neurotransmitters. We break down the protein and we reassemble it and turn it back into us. And when we have more of us and more of those neurotransmitters, we have less cravings. We have more satiation, more satisfaction without needing that big dopamine hit from the sugar. We have more serotonin, we don't need as much dopamine. More protein, we make more serotonin. It just goes hand in hand. So have a protein with every meal. And if we don't have meals, what we end up doing is just kind of snacking on carbs, snacking on sugar, and then that makes us want even more. And my last tip for less sugar cravings is to make sure you're hydrating. If you have a craving, drink water first. Chances are you're probably thirsty. I know you've probably heard that before, but it's true. So just drink a little water or make yourself a cup of tea, sit down, relax, drink it either outside or inside, wherever is the most cozy for you. Relax with your hydration. Best to be drinking in between meals, not, guzzling all your water with a meal right after a meal, but in between. And that is going to give you another sense of satisfaction. You're going to fill your body up. If you're still hungry 10 minutes later, or you're still craving sugar, then you can reassess then. Maybe you can go for a walk. Maybe you can call a friend. Maybe you could do something else that brings you pleasure. Maybe you can ask yourself, what am I really hungry for? And make a different choice. So I hope this is helpful as we kick off the new year. I'll be sharing more tips and swaps like this soon. So stay tuned. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.